It was a dark and stormy night. The rain fell in torrents except at occasional intervals when it was checked by a violent gust of wind. Welcome to a world where the spine, tingles and goosebumps are a common occurrence. A realm that thrives on the unsettling and the macabre, where nightmares are born and fears are faced head-on. This is the genre of horror, a literary landscape that has captivated readers for centuries, luring them into its ghostly grip with tales of the eerie and the unknown. The appeal of horror lies in its ability to tap into our primal fears and darkest imaginings. But how does one go about crafting a horror story that is engaging, intriguing, horrifying, and downright terrifying? That, my friends, is the purpose of today's video. We'll be breaking down the process of writing a horror story, from the birth of a horror concept to the terrifying conclusion. So, are you ready to delve into the shadows and bring your own horrors to life? Scene script. Every horror story begins with a seed, a dark thought, a creeping fear. Think of it as the genesis of a nightmare. It's the chilling concept that will keep your readers up at night, their minds filled with terrifying images. This is where the birth of your horror story begins. It starts with an idea, a unique, terrifying idea that will send shivers down the spine of anyone who dares to read your tale. Now you might be wondering, where do I find such an idea? The answer is closer than you think. Look deep within yourself in the shadows of your own fears and phobias. What frightens you? What makes your skin crawl? What keeps you awake in the wee hours of the night? These personal fears are the raw material for your horror story. You see, the potency of horror lies in its ability to tap into our primal fears. The fear of the dark, the fear of the unknown, the fear of being alone. These are universal phobias that resonate with everyone. They are the common thread that binds us all in the realm of fear. So, when you weave your tale around your own fears, you are essentially tapping into the collective fear of humanity. Remember, your story doesn't necessarily have to involve monsters or supernatural entities. Sometimes the most terrifying things are rooted in reality. A story about a serial killer can be just as horrifying as a tale about a haunted house. It's all about how you present it, how you twist the knife of fear into the hearts of your readers. Take time to brainstorm. Allow your mind to wander into the darkest corners. Play with different concepts, scenarios, and settings. Let the fear simmer and grow. Let it take shape and form. Let it breathe and come alive. This is the birth of your horror story. And when you finally have that terrifying idea, that seed of horror, nurture it. Feed it with your words, your descriptions, your narratives. Let it grow into a monstrous tree that will tower over your readers, casting a shadow of fear on them. Remember, the more personal the fear, the more universal the horror. The walls of the haunted house groaned, echoing the terror that lay within. This isn't just a sentence, it's an atmosphere, a setting, a stage where our horror story unfolds. Creating an atmosphere that sends shivers down the spine is no easy task. It's a delicate dance of words and imagination, requiring vivid descriptions, sensory details, and a dash of foreshadowing. Let's start with vivid descriptions. Imagine a room. Now imagine a room with peeling wallpapers, creaky floorboards, and a musty smell of decay. Which one sends a chill down your spine? Vivid descriptions transform ordinary settings into eerie landscapes. They paint a picture so real, so terrifying, that your readers won't dare to look away. But what good is a picture if it lacks emotion? This is where sensory details come into play. They're the secret ingredients that make your horror story come alive. The cold draft that sneaks in through the cracks, the distant hooting of an owl, the eerie silence that hangs heavy in the air. Sensory details are the whispers in the dark that make your readers' hearts pound. Now, onto foreshadowing. It's the ominous cloud that looms over your story, hinting at the horrors that are yet to come. A flickering light, a broken mirror, a blood-curdling scream in the distance. These are your tools to keep your readers on the edge, anticipating the terror that lurks around the corner. But remember, the atmosphere is not just about the place. It's also about the time. The cover of night, the witching hour, the break of dawn. Time can heighten the sense of dread and suspense. Whether your story unfolds in the dead of night or in the cold light of day, time can amplify the horror, making your reader's heart skip a beat. A well-drawn setting is a character in itself, one that breathes dread into every page. So, let your haunted house groan, let your graveyard whisper, and let your forest echo with unseen terrors. After all, in a horror story, the atmosphere is not just a backdrop. It's the spine-tingling, heart-pounding, goosebumps-inducing heartbeat of your tale. She was not alone in the room. She could feel a presence, watching, waiting. This is the essence of creating characters in horror stories, characters who are so real, so relatable that their fears become palpable. Their dread becomes ours, and we are drawn, helpless, into their chilling world. Characters in horror fiction are not just pawns in a terrifying game, they are the heartbeat of your story. They are the ones who explore the dark corners, who hear the eerie sounds, who feel the icy touch of the unseen. Without their experiences, the horror remains abstract, the fear remains unexplored. So how do you create characters that are so real, that their fears become our own? You delve into their psyche, explore their past, their motivations, their weaknesses. You show us their humanity, their vulnerabilities, which make them all the more susceptible to the horrors that await them. The protagonist of your story is the lens through which your readers will experience the horror. They are the ones who will face the darkness, who will fight the monster, who will unravel the mystery. They are the ones who will feel the fear, and it is through their reactions, their emotions, that your readers will feel it too. But what of the antagonist, the source of the horror, the monster in the shadows? How do you create an antagonist that is truly terrifying? You make them unpredictable, unfathomable, unstoppable. You give them an insatiable hunger, a relentless drive, a chilling purpose. You make them a force to be reckoned with, a nightmare to be escaped, a horror to be survived. The antagonist is the heart of the horror, the embodiment of the dread, the manifestation of the fear. They are the ones who lurk in the shadows, who haunt the dreams, who stalk the night. They are the ones who make the horror real, who bring the fear to life, who make the story terrifying. Your characters are the heartbeat of your story, their fears the lifeblood of your horror. They are the ones who make the horror come alive, who make the fear palpable, who make the story unforgettable. So delve into their world, explore their fears, and let the horror unfold. The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. Now we delve into the chilling heart of any horror story, suspense. It's the silent whisper in the dark, the unseen hand on the shoulder, the shadowy figure disappearing around the corner. It's the element that transforms a simple narrative into a page-turner, keeping readers wide-eyed and breathless, daring them to read just one more line, one more page. Suspense, my dear friends, is the art of the unknown, and mastering it is paramount to crafting a truly horrifying tale. It's not just about the scare, it's about the anticipation of it. It's about dropping hints and clues like breadcrumbs in a dark forest, leading your reader towards the inevitable yet unexpected climax. Consider the humble cliffhanger, a powerful tool in the suspense-building arsenal. It's the unexpected twist at the end of a chapter that leaves your reader's heart pounding, their mind racing with questions. What happens next? Who's that at the door? Is the protagonist safe? The cliffhanger is a promise of more to come, a tantalizing hint of the horrors that lie ahead. Next, we have time constraints, another suspense-inducing technique. The ticking clock, the dwindling candle, the moon rising higher in the sky. These are all ways to imbue your story with a sense of urgency and impending doom. As the time runs out, the tension rises, forcing your reader to the edge of their seat, their pulse matching the relentless ticking of the clock. Then we have the red herring, a deceptive plot device designed to mislead and divert. It's the unexpected twist that turns your reader's assumptions on their head, the false clue that leads them down a dark alley, only to find a dead end. A well-placed red herring can keep your reader guessing, adding layers of complexity and intrigue to your tale. Suspense is the key to gripping horror. It's not just about the scare, it's about the anticipation of it. So weave it well, my fellow scribes, and let your readers tremble in delicious terror. And in the end, the horror you fear is the horror you meet. The conclusion of your horror tale is where the dread and anticipation built up throughout the story come to a chilling climax. A well-crafted ending should be satisfying, yet leave a lingering sense of unease. This is your final opportunity to shock, horrify, or even surprise your reader. The key to a successful ending lies in resolution. The main conflict should be resolved either through the triumph of your characters or the horrifying victory of the macabre. Yet the resolution should not be too clean. Leave some questions unanswered, some mystery unsolved. This lingering ambiguity will ensure the horror of your story stays with the reader long after they've closed the book. Remember, the aim is not to tie up all loose ends, but to leave a haunting echo of the tale you've spun. And as the final page turns, the horror lingers, a haunting echo of the tale you've spun.